And the recording is in progress. Wonderful. So we are excited today because we are changing our format a little bit of this meetup. And we have added in our little sort of expert slot. This is a little bit of a test for us, but both myself, Ray, hi, I'm Ray, and the lovely Jess, give a wave, Jess, so they know who you are, wonderful, are here, as you know, hosting this wonderful meetup. And we are delighted to welcome the wonderful Susie Fox, who is going to give us all of her, well, no, I'm not sure, not all of it, we only have a little bit of time, but who is going to help us when it comes to figuring out what to wear. Now, this is, to me, a big topic, right? For me personally, I am the world's worst dresser. I haven't a clue what, I mean, I really think I'm not colorblind, but I think that I nearly am, because I put stuff on and then I go downstairs and the girls go, no, take that off, do it again. So it's very clear I haven't a clue what I'm doing. So I'm delighted that somebody in this world does. And so Susie, thank you so much for joining us. I think we'll probably start. Do you want to just maybe introduce yourself, tell people about your business a little bit, just so that we kind of get a flavor for who you are?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Susie. I'm a trans woman. I've been in transgender for 3 years now. And about a year and a half ago, I had been working as a designer. So I've got a design background, and I was a casualty in terms of my job. And so I did something that I've always wanted to do, and that's to start a clothing business. And the thing that made it a little bit different for me, I managed to match two of my passions together, which is the LGBT community and my love of clothes. And so I started an LGBT clothing business, which was interesting. It was quite a steep learning curve for me in terms of the business side, but in terms of the website and the clothing side, was kind of playing on my home ground to a certain extent. So I've had an interesting last 18 months, just learning lots of different things and trying to build up my business, trying to build up. So the business is called the Rainbow Stores. It's online at the moment, and we do. I've included as many different identities, LGBT identities, as possible. So far, we've got I think 14 in the shop. And one of the philosophy that we started with is that we believed, I was certainly looking for something to wear, and it was something to wear while I went out, and I couldn't find anything, because everything that I found was really loud for LGBTs. So to feel part of my community, I could wear the flag or I could not wear anything. And so I thought, well, there's got to be a market for people who want to be a bit more subtle with the way that they express their identity. And so that's the kind of core philosophy of the business. It's using design and creating things that are great to wear, look great, make you feel good, but they've got a nod to the community that you belong to, or to the identity that you feel that you are, or in some cases intersectional identities. So that's where I am. It's, as I said, we've been going a year and a half, and it's great. It's good. It's
wonderful.
I've met a lot of amazing people in that Arabian.
Oh, I bet you have. Yeah, I mean, look, my job on a normal day-to-day basis is a management consultant, and we help businesses start up and grow. So that pain that you're talking about from starting and a sharp learning curve, oh, believe you me, I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, we see about 3,000 to 5,000 of those kind of people every year, and we understand the pitfalls. And to get to a year and a half and still be in business and working, moving forward, you have already beaten 90% of the businesses that start up. Just to let you know about that.
That's good.
It's good, right? It's really, really good. And I think as well that for where we are, the community is actually quite big, but it's just not connected enough. And we need more of that connection. And we also need more visibility for trans businesses and to support each other. And so you're supporting us and we're supporting you, and then therefore it works, you know? So it's wonderful to see. And I'm for me, this is just amazing, right? Oh, there's a comment, by the way, just looking at the store and loving the sports bra section. Some really lovely designs. I've been looking for those. Well, there you go, right? That's the type of thing that we're talking about here. So thank you, Kate. That's wonderful. So tell us now, this is the thing. We've come together here, usually in these meetups. Oh, hi, Mafalmi, how are you? You have your hand up, but just bear with me and we'll get to that. We usually on these meetups, we kind of discuss amongst ourselves. So it's wonderful to actually have an expert who can guide us. Sometimes at the early stage, and I know I'm very guilty of this, it's a little bit of the blind leading the blind. And I am particularly blind when it comes to fashion. But from your point of view, what would be, I guess, the things that you see for people at the early stage, regardless of their identity? What would be sort of the common challenges that you're seeing out there?
Well, it's difficult, isn't it? Because I think for all of us, certainly when we're just starting out on our journey, on our transition, clothes and hair are the two things that, pretty much the only two things that we can use to try and project the gender that we want. And I think in many cases, certainly with trans women, I think there's a knee-jerk reaction. And there's two classic mistakes. If I take trans women first, there's two classic mistakes that you usually see within that community. And one is dressing hyper feminine to try and make up for the masculine traits that we've got, physical traits that we've got. And the other one is not necessarily dressing within our age range. And I don't just mean dressing younger, because we obviously we see that with certain people, but it's also dressing older as well, because we haven't gone through those teenage years of that most cisgendered girls go through, of being able to explore fashion and explore what works for us, and have somebody in our family, have a mother that goes, yeah, try this and try that, and see what your style is. Little boys don't get that. Little boys just expected to make their own way. And so finding out what your style is often a new thing to trans women, trans femmes. And there's quite a lot of room for error, shall we say.
Okay. And so what can, let's say we'll talk about because we're doing it now, talking about the trans women, what would be the first steps for her to take then to kind of not just find a style, but to feel comfortable with who you are? Because it's brave stepping out the door in the morning. Like that's not an easy thing to do.
It really is. I think for the first, it's not just for trans women, it's for trans men as well. Is the most important thing, the critical thing for you is to understand your body shape. Now, there are, I mean, if you look online, you can find people that say there are 12 different body shapes, but I think it's easy to overcomplicate. And let's say there are 8 different body shapes, for the sake of trying not to make it too complicated. So you've got to, if you go onto Google and find what's my body shape, you'll find these 8, and they're roughly kind of inverted triangle, which is where your shoulders are wider than your hips. That's usually men. Then you've got the rectangle, which is straight down. Again, it's probably more of a masculine body shape. The lean column, which again can be either, it's just people who are just really thin and slim. Then you've got the oval or apple shape, the pear shape, which is a more feminine shape, the hourglass shape, and the triangle shape. So those are really the most common ones that you're going to find, and understanding which of those shapes you are and refers to you is the building block. It's the key thing. It's the first thing you've really got to do, to understand what you are. And then we can start saying, okay, well, if you are this, then you need to be emphasizing these things, or trying to take away the focus on other elements. So that's the basic thing.
Okay. And so, but how would you do that? I mean, let's just say, like, for instance, you have wide shoulders and slim hips. And I know a lot of trans men are like, oh, no, man, my hips are so big, I want to get rid of that. And also hide the chest area, without going to ridiculous lengths. I mean, some of the things that you have to do is wearing a corset and stuff. That's crazy, very uncomfortable and stuff like that. So, you know, what would be your advice? Like, what would you do? Like, say for the broad shoulders, let's just take that one, and then maybe the wider hips. What would be your advice for that?
Okay, so let's take the inverted triangle, the broad shoulders, that shape first, because that's more of a masculine body shape that you're going to be probably finding more trans women that are that have that body shape and are trying to cover that one up, or trying to make a more feminine shape. So for that, really, I mean, I guess the good news about that shape is that if you've got broader shoulders, the estrogen melts away muscle. And so that's something that with estrogen, you might find becomes less of an issue as time goes on. But let's tackle it, because it's something that I think a lot of people have got that they need to think about. So what do you need to think about? You need to think about shoulders, you need to think about waist, are the two things. So the first thing is to avoid drawing attention to those shoulders. And that means you want to avoid items that extend the shoulders or accentuate the shoulders. So things like puff sleeves or shoulder pads or busy patterns at the top around here, because those all draw attention to an area that you really want to take people's eyes away from. Bare shoulders, again, is a bad idea. And thin spaghetti straps, really, it's a massive no-no. If you've got broad shoulders, you need a wider strap around your shoulders to count for the broader shoulders. But there are things that you can do to try and soften that shoulder line. And the first one would be a low neck t-shirt or top, either a U-neck or a V-neck or a tank top, t-shirt or tank top, or just a top. So those really take away from that kind of wideness and broadness of the shoulders, and they focus the eyes down into the front area. Loose fitting cardigans are also a really good idea, because they go straight down and they fit right around the shoulders. They also take that kind of silhouette and they soften it quite considerably. Small lapels as well are really good. Collarless styles in terms of jackets and single button coats are all really good for just softening that broad shouldered approach, or broad shouldered body shape. So what do we think on? So if we look at the waist, for example, so what you want to really avoid doing is emphasizing that disproportionately narrow waist against the shoulders. So one of the things that you probably...
She'll be back in a moment.
It can be really, because it just makes your lower part really feel narrower than the upper part. So avoid very fitted skirts and bodycon dresses. And I know, I'm really sorry, guys, because bodycon dresses, I love a bodycon dress, and I've got slightly broad shoulders, so I do have to be very careful with the bodycon dresses. I'm just going to have to put the cat down. Sorry. Yeah, bodycon dresses or dresses with embellished sleeves. Again, you want to try and avoid those. So in terms of accentuating the waist, tops with nipping at the waist or banding around the waist are really good. Tailored shirts or jackets, again, really that accentuate that waist are really good. And fitted t-shirts or tops with an open patterned shirt that waist, because they, again, like the cardigan, they fall straight down, so they take away that narrowness at the waist. And what you want to be trying to do is adding volume really around the waist and hips. So in terms of skirts, you can look at a flared skirt or a high-waisted puffball skirt, full skirt, circle skirt, tulip skirts, straight down pencils. All of those really work well. Or in terms of dresses, A-line dresses, a wrap dress, which again nips in at the waist and emphasizes the waist, or an empire line cut dress are good. For trousers, now the good thing about this is that you've got lots of choice with trousers and that body shape, because you've got you can wear a baggy or a wide leg trouser, both look good, tapered trousers or high-waisted trousers, boyfriend style jeans. Now this is where sometimes it's wise not to throw all your boy clothes away, because girls wear boys' clothes and sometimes they look great in them. So you need to be just curating your wardrobe a bit more with the clothes. Hip. What else can we think?
That's quite a lot, in fairness. Do you have, by any chance, a cheat sheet? Because you just said about 50 things that I've never heard of before.
I do, and what I'll do is I've curated a list on Pinterest.
Okay.
For everyone. And so what I'm going to do is I'll send it to you, and you can send it on to everybody else. Now, I've got good resources at the moment for the trans femmes. Trans masc resources are really hard to find, but I'm building those up. So I'll build those up over the next 24 hours. So I'll send you, actually, if on Pinterest, you look at Miss Susie Fox, you'll probably find me on there on Pinterest.
Miss Susie Fox. Okay.
Miss Susie Fox.
Right. Okay. And if you are watching the recording of this, look down. All of the links are there. Just look down. It's fine. Okay. Okay. So that, I think, thoroughly takes care of the ladies. What about, because we will also talk about non-binary as well, but what about the fellas? Because I'll be honest with you, to make my shoulders look wide, I am not wearing a puffy blouse. That's not going to work for me. No. So what would be your suggestion for, I mean, our main problems is we're a little bit shorter usually, we're slimmer usually, not wider hips, not so much muscle. And yes, the testosterone over time does help with that, but you've got to work out. But like, what can you do to make yourself look a little bit broader, a little bit less, what would be the term? I don't know, just sort of like small. Yeah.
Well, there's lots of do's and don'ts, actually, and I think for the trans men, it's more about do's and don'ts. So let me go through the list. So the first thing, and probably the most important thing for trans men, is wear clothes that fit you. Because I think you see a lot of trans guys who it's really tempting to wear super baggy things because you want to wear something that bulks you out. But what you need to be doing is wearing clothes that are baggy for you, not for Sylvester Stallone. Make sure you're wearing the right fit for your own size. So if you want to wear baggy clothes that are designed to be baggy on you.
Yeah. See, the trick is to show the shoulders, wider shoulders, but to take any emphasis away from the chest area.
Yeah.
Which is often difficult.
Yeah, and I think you can do that with a t-shirt. Now, with t-shirts, they're tricky because with a normal t-shirt, I think it can emphasize the chest area and also the waist. So I think one trick that's quite useful is if you wear a sports t-shirt or an athletic t-shirt that is cut for your size, that fits you, then they tend to fit snugly on the hips and snugly up here, and they go past the waist. So in other words, they accentuate that straight line down from the chest down to the hips, but they don't show that you've got this narrower waist. And also they're good around the armholes, because if you've got narrower arms and you wear a normal t-shirt for a man, you tend to look like a 14-year-old boy because you get dwarfed by the armholes. Whereas the sports ones, they've got a smaller cut around the arms and they look much better on arms.
Okay. Well, that it is good advice, and I have noticed that myself. I mean, in fairness, once the testosterone took hold, I needed to change my wardrobe. Like, none of the clothes that I used to wear fit anymore. Like, that was just out the door. I had to change my wardrobe 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And now, without doing very much, there's a little bit more bulk there. But early stage, dear God, that was a disaster.
Yeah.
There's no way, no chance of passing in any shape or form.
It is difficult.
Yeah, it is difficult. Okay, and what about, is there anything that you can do for height rather than wearing high heels? That's also a no-no.
Well, yeah, it is a no-no, because I mean there are things that in terms of depth, another no-nos. Shoulder pads. Don't be tempted to bulk out the shoulders, because men don't wear, 99.9% of men don't wear slings with shoulder pads. So that's definitely to be avoided. In terms of height, I think things to do with height are more around giving that impression of elongating your body. So trying to wear things that make you look taller, but giving you the impression of it's more a slim physique rather than adding height.
I had heard that the idea to that was to wear one color, sort of like a lot of shorter men would wear a suit that is all one color, and you know, like a sort of the royal blues and the navies and stuff like that. Like Dom Cruise is well known for this one. I mean, he's the same height as me. So that kind of gives you one line. If you have two colors, it like splits you in half, and that makes you look shorter.
Yeah, certainly the dark colors are really good. Patterns are not so good if you're trying to do that, because pattern will draw somebody's eye, and it gives you, because the eyes are so used to seeing patterns in a certain way, if you're wearing pattern, it will draw the eye to the wrong part of the body. So dark colors are really good. Dark colors are great for hiding things, because lighter colors definitely a lot less forgiving in terms of being able to hide different elements. So if you're trying to hide a chest, if you're wearing the undergarments or anything like that, it's probably good to wear really dark colors, and as you say, kind of one color top and bottom. That gives you a much slimmer silhouette.
Okay, excellent, wonderful. Okay, so let's change over then to a different side of things. So the non-binary side of things. So there's obviously a lot of people who are trying to hit that androgynous look. You know, I mean, if somebody is trans femme or trans masc, I think we've kind of covered that one here. But what about people who are androgynous or are trying to, you know, go right smack bang in the middle?
Yeah, that's really difficult, because I think you've got two different types of non-binary. You've got the Jamie Windus type, who have gone kind of completely agender and are wearing just mixing and matching different types of gender clothing. So they will wear bright colors and something that's feminine and something that's masculine, and they just want to attract attention to themselves. But it's really about being completely that is really agender. So I'm going to show off who I am. And then you've got the other non-binary type of people that want to be genderless, and I think that's a much easier type to be looking for, because really you want to wear things that mask those genders. So I think it's more around things that for the rest of us, for the trans men and trans women, you want to avoid, and that's more the baggy clothing, to take away that silhouette and remove the eyes from going, oh, that's one or the other gender. So you create baggy clothes, more baggy trousers, things that go straight down and give you a less defined silhouette.
Okay, all right. So again, is that leaning towards more darker colors as well?
Dark colors, yeah. I mean, again, I think if you're going to go the Jamie Windus route, then the bright colors are definitely where you want to be. But dark colors for all of us are really forgiving. Blacks, blues, browns, dark blues, browns are much more. They're much better at hiding the different parts of the body. So whatever your body shape, you're going to be able to hide the things that you don't want other people to see. You want to take attention away from with a dark color.
Okay. Are there any, I mean, obviously, you know, you have a lot of stuff in your store, and just in case anybody didn't get it, it's the rainbowstores.com. Okay, that is where it is, and it's an ever expanding collection, really, isn't it? You're forever designing new things.
Yeah, always new things every day. There's new things going in.
Brilliant. I love it as well. Now, can I ask another question as well, which you might shoot me for doing this one, but there is a scenario here, is that if you are a short person looking to get more masculine, it's very hard to find anything to fit. Opposite is true of yes. The question just came in, I'll ask that question in a second. Also, if you are a taller person or broader or whatever, it can be very difficult to get feminine type of clothes. So are there any brands or are there any places that you would go that will help? with that?
What, for taller or shorter?
Both.
I think the main brands now are actually getting much better at being more inclusive. So I think it's more about how you dress and the things that you put together. The way you put together a look is probably more important than going to a specific brand. I think there are still some out there. I mean, I guess that years ago there used to be a lot more specific brands for taller. I mean, but I think most of the main brands now are much better at producing garments for tall and short people. So I don't think it's necessarily about going to a specific brand. I think it's just about creating a look. I mean, for tall people, there are lots of things that you can do. I've got a few here. Let me just go through this list. So for tall people, oversized t-shirts, certainly in terms of trans women, oversized t-shirts are good, and shawls, smocks, coats paired with statement belts are good. Cuffed jeans are good for taller people because that then seems to reduce the length of the leg. Maxi dresses and skirts, jumpsuits and romper suits are great for tall people. That's your sweet spot. And surprisingly, over knee boots also really good because you've got great long legs, so make the most of them. Skinny jeans, good, and high-waisted skirts and jeans. And highlight, and I guess this goes for both, is that highlight your waist when wearing loose-fitting clothes. So that does then cut you in half, and it's so you're not this one long great big thing. You change top to bottom, and also coloured, probably a more louder coloured top if you're tall to bottoms, then gives you that kind of more definition between top and bottom.
Okay.
It's good.
Wonderful. Okay, excellent. Loads of stuff there. Okay, so a question has come in here. So any tips on where to get suits for shorter people, e.g. 5'1", and this particular person has been looking, but no luck so far.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that a suits for men or women?
That would be for men.
I don't know, actually. Let me find out. I'll see if I can find something like that. If you can remind me. I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay, I have a little bit of an answer on that one, actually. Okay. I find in the UK, Moss Brothers has suits, but you will need to tailor them further, but they don't call it petite range, but they have a slim fit range, and they tend to have shorter leg inseams. It's and they also have a tailoring service that will reduce the size of the jacket and also the inseam as well, up to well, whatever short you want. So there's more questions coming in here, right? You see this. Yeah. So, and also what I have also found, if you are getting a suit that you want, that is going to be a really smart suit that you're prepared to pay a little bit of money on it, if you go to the Italian brands and literally take yourself on a little Milan shop, because there's a lot of very short Italian men, and by God, do they know how to dress well. Okay, everybody in Italy is a supermodel. It's annoying when you go because you just look like you've shopped in Pennies or at Primark, whatever the version is here. So and I'm going this Saturday, and I am intending on finding a boutique to get myself a nice suit. I've been on the suit hunt. It's been particularly nice suit shopping, by the way, when you pass, because the sales assistants no longer sneer at you, which is interesting. You get a lot of sneering from men before that. But anyway, on the opposite end, pardon me?
To add one thing to that,
yes,
it depends how much you want to spend. But if you want to spend it, if you are spending a little bit more money, then Selfridges, Harvey Nichols and Harrods all have an alterations department as well. So if you buy the suit there, then they will alter it for you. Okay,
wonderful. Yeah, it's tailored. We have to tailor things, I'm afraid. That is kind of the only way forward. Now, another question has come forward, and it is the opposite end of the scale. So for a lady, 6'4", what is that? A 54-inch chest, size 13 feet. It's hard to find anything to fit. Any advice?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think if you're shopping in the main brands, but you're going to have to be buying the bigger items, but mixing and matching probably. I think finding the trouble with finding dresses when you're that kind of male shape is that, and I've had the same, is that brands don't make clothes to fit that male shape generally, especially when you're getting up to those larger sizes. So you have to mix and match. You have to buy separates, so skirts and tops that you can find to create that silhouette that will allow you to look great. But finding dresses is very difficult.
Okay, can I make a suggestion on that one as well? Because I'm just again thinking of this whole thing. I would look for countries where women are tall, which would be Scandinavia, and often in the US as well. They have very specific brands in Scandinavia that, you know, they make things far better than just IKEA. And they also have, you know, an average woman is 6 foot, 6'2". It's amazing how tall they are over there. So I would
really?
just, yeah, very tall, very tall. They're completely over average for height. So I think I would be doing this. More questions coming through. I think I would look there and see if you can shop online and maybe get them to be delivered out. And I know certainly in America, there's a lot of, I was in New York in January and my God, the women were as tall as the buildings. Like, yeah. Honestly, they were skyscraper size. You know, I got a crink in my neck looking up to talk to them. So that would be a super place to look. And I think we need to think outside the box and not just accept, you know, small little English and Irish brands. Do you know what I mean? So that would be a good one. Now, another question has come through. She said, thank you. What about a subtle way to look more masculine when being loud and proud is not safe? So this is clearly someone who doesn't pass.
Well, I mean, I think certainly the shirt over the t-shirt look, which I guess is pretty ubiquitous with the trans masks, is quite nice, because it's certainly something that you can do, that lots of women do anyway, with kind of wearing the boyfriend shirt. So wearing a t-shirt and then putting a patterned shirt or a men's shirt over the top, because you can roll the sleeves up, make yourself look a bit more mask. I think that's one way, definitely.
Okay.
Waistcoats as well are good.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, I like that. That's really good. Okay. Actually, I think a tip has just come in here about tailoring. Just saying, for tailoring, find a good seamstress near you. Most tend to be well priced and will do all clothing types, which is true. And if you get a very good one, they will measure you, keep your measurements, and so you can just hand them clothes and they'll just sort it out for you. And I know that one is a big one. A new message has just come through. Now, another question here: hide or disguise hips is the question.
Yeah, that's a difficult one. I think in terms of, I mean, that's really trousers, isn't it? Is it trousers or is it skirts?
That would be trousers. This one.
Yeah. Yes. So I think a definite go-to for every trans man is probably a pair of black, dark blue or khaki regular fit trousers. And what you want to do is you need to be able to go and try these on, because without being able to try them on, you won't be able to work out whether they fit or not. Now, a fit is really, when you're wearing them, you want to pinch the back of your thigh. And if you can pinch about an inch, that is a good fit. Anything more than that, and they're too big. Now, that will allow them to sit on the waist, on the hips, and hang straight down, a kind of straight leg fit, and hide hips. And the other thing with that you want to be hiding is ankles. The kind of difference between hips and ankles. So yeah, the simple black, dark blue, khaki, regular fit trousers, straight leg fit trousers is where you want to go.
Okay. What about a jacket for that? Because most of the jackets will go down sort of below the hip. Is that helpful for that?
Yeah, it is.
A sports jacket or something like that.
Yeah, a sports jacket as well is good.
Okay, wonderful.
I mean, that also depends, because if you're very narrow hip, very narrow shouldered, then it could be that if you're that kind of triangle shape, that normal triangle shape, then your shoulders are quite narrow. So what you might end up doing is emphasizing the hip. So you've got to be a little bit careful with jackets to make sure that if you're straight down, then it's fine. But if you've got much narrower shoulders than your hips, then it might end up emphasizing them. But yeah, it can work.
So what would you do then? What would you wear on top then?
Well, I think if you're looking for something a bit more baggy, something that pulls the shoulders out, is probably a good, like maybe a slightly baggier jumper would work.
Okay. All right. Wow. That's loads of stuff that we've covered tonight. I can't believe how much we actually got out. I don't see any more questions in the chat. Jess, do you have anything to add? You've been sitting smiling very, very patiently here.
No, very, very happy. I mean, it's always the thing, isn't it? I walked into a shop today and looking for a pair of jeans and just could not get to a consensus as far as I'm concerned. So no, definitely taking that advice.
Yeah, it's difficult. What shape would you say you are?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I've been on Eastern for about 2 years now, so I think my shoulders are somewhat reduced, but I'm still dealing with sort of broad shoulders. I think like what you've been saying, I do wear a lot of high-waisted stuff. I find that looks best on me. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going for.
Yeah. I think with all of these things as well, there's two sides to. Sorry, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
I think because the other shape that is kind of a male shape, we do have apple body shapes as kind of AMAB shapes, and also some kind of rectangle body shapes. So there's lots of different things that you've got to bear in mind. Certainly for the different body shapes. Go and have a look at the Pinterest page that I've got, because I've got pages for those 3 different body shapes for male body shapes if you're trying to find a more female silhouette, a more feminine silhouette. So yeah, I've got information for all 3 of those, for rectangle, apple, and inverted triangle. So go have a look.
Wonderful. Oh,
thank you.
That's down below if you're watching the recording. Just sorry, I do stuff like this. All right, so now I think that kind of covers how to hide the shapes. We've gone way over time on what I expected to do, by the way, so thank you for continuing to all be very patient with me. But I have another question, and this one is another one that I think that we all struggle with at the early stages, and that's finding your own style. And you were certainly talking earlier about dressing appropriately for, well, work, life, and age. Do you want to sort of comment a little bit on that and just how people, because I know there's a lot of trying stuff out, but it takes quite a while to find out what you feel comfortable in, and I think it takes a couple of years to get that together, at least.
I would agree. I mean, I definitely took a couple of years to understand what worked for me, and I think it was, certainly for me, it was more about a gradual change, just adopting things as I went. I didn't, and I hear a lot of people who got rid of all of their male clothes almost overnight, and then threw themselves into whatever they bought. And I always think, okay, well, that's very bold of you, because how do you know what your style is at this point? So I think it's much more about evolving that as you go, and then mixing and matching what you've got. There are lots of things that you will wear, that you have, that you think, no, that doesn't really suit me, and it's very masculine. And you might want to just move those out first. But there's lots of other things. There's lots of pairs of jeans that you might be wearing now, and you think, okay, I can get away with that. And I can add other elements in and just try them as I go. But being able to go and try things on. I mean, don't be afraid to go and try things on in TK Maxx or in wherever you shop. I think it's just really important to be able to just see what works. Or even if you're shopping in the delivery sites like Boohoo and things like that. And I know they now charge you a return fee, but it's still a good idea to just buy things and just try them and see what works. See what's good.
Yeah, over time you do find different brands that have cuts and sizes that fit you, and so you can order them online more easily. Because it is a real pain in the neck to turn to we have to return all this stuff, and I find it very annoying. I like to try things on, but finding that right style is an important one. And also, I think for me as well, while I think for trans men, it's a little bit easier because it's so socially acceptable for women to walk around in men's clothes and nobody cares. But it's not quite so easy for, trans women to do that. I mean, look at all the stink that came up a couple of months ago because Brad Pitt wore a skirt to a premiere.
Yeah.
I mean, for God's sake.
Yeah. And I think it's very much looked down upon, isn't it? That whole trans woman part of society. People are very talk very detrimentally about it. But these things are changing, and I think it's important for us to. I think what we were talking about earlier is making sure that we dress to kind of appropriately. And I think the best thing for us to do is to just look around and see the people of your age group, and that means people that the people that you work with, the people that you see on the telly, but also the people that are your shape. And that comes back to the understanding your body shape and seeing what they're wearing and seeing what works well with them. Because once you understand your body shape, you start seeing, oh yeah, they're my shape, and they're my shape, and they're my shape. And then you can look at what they're wearing and you can start to ask yourself, I wonder if that would look good on me. And that then starts to allow you to boil down those kind of targets and think, yes, okay, I'd like to try those kind of jeans, or I'd like to try that kind of dress and see if that works for me.
Okay. Yeah, wonderful. And I'd also like to say for trans women is don't be afraid to wear like trousers and jeans. Most of the women that I have running around in my life only wear dresses when they're going out on a date.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, what are you talking about? High heels. You're mad. Who'd be doing that stuff? They're very comfortable in who they are, and they look fabulous anyway.
Yeah. I only wear dresses when I'm going out.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so a few comments here, which I'm going to read them out here. Is one saying, Amazon have some items that are try before you buy, which is very nice. So that's quite cool. So I assume that's an easy return on that one there. And there's another comment, maybe you can just give us, if you have the link, can't find the body shape page. So what we'll do is we'll email it out to everybody later so that you have all of those links. And if you're watching, look below, it's there.
If you go into the trans femme or page section of the Pinterest, then all the body shapes are in there. Okay.
Another tip that has come in here saying Secret Sales and Brand Alley are similar to TK Maxx, but online. Didn't know about either of those, but that's a good tip. Thank you very much for that. Super. Okay. Have we any other questions before we end the recorded side of this? Has anybody, now that we have Susie's undivided attention, or have we asked all the questions? If you have, pop them in the chat. If not, or raise your hand if you just want to talk, that's also equally fine. I don't see anything here. I think we might have exhausted everybody now, which is a good thing. Okay, cool. So that being the case, we'll end the recorded version of that. But before we do that, I really want to say, Susie, thank you so much for coming on. That was loads of stuff, like loads of stuff. I need to process all of those different shapes of clothes and skirts that you said, because my mother never told me about any of those. And it's interesting just to know. I think that this is the kind of stuff that we need, and we need more of it. So thank you so much for your input, and frankly, all the work that you put into putting all of this stuff together. I have to say that's absolutely amazing. Again, the business, the store is therainbowstores.com. Make sure you have an S at the end of store, and that will get you there. Susie, as you can see, is incredibly approachable. So if you have any questions, if you need any help, please get in contact with Susie. She will be delighted to assist you. And also keep an eye on that on that website, because it gets updated on a very regular basis, and there's always new stuff. And I'm always going to say this: support a trans business. So, but it's good stuff. Like, it's really, really nice stuff. So you will enjoy that. So, Susie, thank you so much for coming on,
Thanks,
for
Susie.
letting us question you. It's like being on
You're
the
so welcome.
mastermind chair, isn't it?
Well, I am a bit in the mastermind chair, yeah. Apologies for the dull background. You've all got such beautiful backgrounds, and here I am just sitting in.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Wonderful stuff. Brilliant stuff. Okay, super. So listen, thank you very much for that. If you're watching, thank you for watching again. The rest of you don't hang up, because we're not actually finished the meetup. This is just the recorded session. So I'm just going to stop the recorded session now. And thank you for watching the recorded version of the session.